I love these two new Casio beauties. We spent endless hours together, dancing, playing, and making love. They say it's unnatural for a man to be with a watch, or watches. But what do they know? A man being with a watch is as natural as a man being with a woman, or with a lonely farm animal who has wandered into your mobile home park in need of some human contact. Love is love. These two sexy devils here are new additions to the Casio W217H series. Both watches are in what Casio calls its classic line. I'll call this handsome bronze watch here the Bronze, and I'll call this debonair looking silver watch with the inverted display the Stealth. The Bronze and Stealth have exactly the same dimensions and features. I bought both the Bronze and Stealth from the Casio store for $22. Shipping was not included. I overpaid because I wanted to get my hands on these watches early. Until all the big retailers are fully stocked with these new watches, you should expect prices for these watches to remain high, though lower than what Casio is asking. You can buy both of these watches now on eBay for under $20. Both the Bronze and the Stealth are made completely of plastic. Their crystal is plastic, even the buckle and the tang are plastic. This is the low end of Casio's lineup, and the cheapness of the parts of these watches should not be a big surprise to anyone. Both the Bronze and Stealth are significant developments in the Casio Classic line. The Bronze has not only a bronze painted case, but a bronze colored display background. I've never seen anything like this. Inverted displays, also called negative displays, are relatively new to the Classic line as well. The water resistance of these watches is 50 meters, which is pretty standard for cheap Casio digital watches, though not stellar. And I wouldn't recommend swimming with these watches. This is a W800 series Casio. The case of the Bronze and Stealth are nearly identical in shape and size to the W800H series Casio, with exception to the number of buttons. The Bronze and Stealth have only 3 buttons. The W800H has 4 buttons. The Bronze and the Stealth have an antiquated, minimalist user interface that Casio has been using for millennia, whereas the W800 series uses Casio's newer, more advanced interface. The W800 has a perpetual calendar. The Bronze and Stealth lack a perpetual calendar, so on February 29th, on leap years, the Bronze and Stealth will incorrectly set the date to March 1st, whereas the W800 will correctly set the date to February 29th. The Bronze and Stealth take a CR2016 lithium battery. The case back is held on by 4 Phillips screws. The Bronze and Stealth have a 7-year battery life. The 4-button Casio Classics that I've reviewed have 10-year battery lives. 4-button Casios have a dedicated light button at the top right. I suspect that the Bronze and Stealth have a lower battery life because the light button located at the bottom right must perform other functions as well. For example, the light button acts as a reset button for the timer. The light uses up a relatively large amount of battery juice. Is the 3-year decrease in battery life going to be a big deal for most people? I suspect not. I suspect the band will only last between 2 to 3 years. Most people, I suspect, will throw the watch away when the band breaks and buy a new watch rather than go through the hassle of ordering a replacement band. Another important feature that the W800H has that the Bronze and Stealth lack is the ability to display the time even when the watch is not in time mode. While the Bronze and Stealth have an antiquated user interface with only basic features, these watches do have some distinct advantages over some of their more advanced 4-button digital watch cousins. The Bronze and Stealth have a nice, soft, flexible, and thin plastic band that is comfortable, whereas the 4-button Casios that I've reviewed all have rigid, thicker plastic bands that range from tolerable to really uncomfortable. In addition, the keeper of the Bronze and Stealth is tight enough so that it doesn't come loose while wearing the watch. Loose keepers really annoy me. As you can see, I've needed to add an additional keeper from another Casio in order to keep the keepers in place from my W800H. Another thing I like about the Bronze and Stealth is that the buckle is signed. Not all 4-button Casios have signed buckles. I was surprised that Casio didn't sign the buckle of my W96H, which came out only a few months before the Bronze and Stealth. The digits of the Bronze and Stealth are about 7 millimeters in height, which is pretty big and good for people who have difficulty seeing. As you can see, the digits of the Bronze are a lot larger than the W800s. Now, for the burning question that I'm sure many of you have. How readable is the inverted display of the Stealth? Unfortunately, the readability is not terribly great, and the less light there is, the more trouble you're going to have reading the Stealth. Angular visibility is especially poor for the Stealth. To get a proper read off the Stealth, you're constantly having to adjust the angle of your wrist so that it's aimed directly at your eyes, and even then you sometimes have to squint. While the contrast of the Bronze is slightly worse than that of an ordinary Casio digital watch, the angular visibility of the Bronze is phenomenal, and it dramatically outperforms any Casio Classic Series watch that I've reviewed. The lights for the Bronze and Stealth are great. The light will stay on for as long as you depress the button. This is a great feature that I've never seen before. The alarms of these watches are 65 decibels, loud enough to wake up the dead. I don't like loud alarms because that means that the chime, which is set to the same volume as the alarm, is going to be too loud. I have 7 interests. I like the Stealth. I think it looks really cool, and if I were trying to impress some beautiful artist woman with how sophisticated my aesthetic tastes were, I'd wear the Stealth. Though this scenario would never happen, as beautiful artists, even artists who look mediocre or ugly, want nothing to do with me, as I don't do yoga and I can't afford organic food. I think the Bronze is, in its own right, a pretty cool looking watch as well. It's extremely readable, and because of its thin, soft plastic band, it's the most comfortable digital Casio that you're going to find at this price point. Are you tired of so-called watch experts talking out of their asses about watches they've never handled? Are you tired of watching guys practically bring themselves to orgasm every time they mention the word Rolex? Have you ever wondered if the watch that upbeat, smiley guy just did a rave review of was gifted to him by the maker of the watch? If you're tired of the banal YouTube watch review landscape and enjoy the fresh, hard-hitting journalism of Watch Lab, then I'm going to need your help in order to continue. I work for a living, and like many Americans who work for a living, I have 3 jobs and little free spending money to show for it. I'm just barely able to buy 1 watch a month to review, and I take a big loss on these watches when I resell them on eBay. I cannot take on the fake YouTube watch review community at the pace I'm going. Watch Lab is not a hobby for me, it is my mission, and I need to make more watch reviews in order to accomplish my mission. Otherwise, I'm not going to be given the exposure that I need. 1 watch review a month doesn't even come close to cutting it if I'm to take on the fake watch review industry in any meaningful way. I need your support via Patreon in order to continue. All my Patreon benefactors will be given a producer credit that will appear in the credits at the end of each video. In addition, all my Patreon benefactors will be invited to my Vermont Watch Conference, which will be held either in Vermont or in the province of Quebec, Canada. If I could get 13 people to pledge $10 a month, I can add 1 additional watch review per month. Ideally, I like to do one watch review a week. My Patreon account is patreon.com/watchlab. You can also find the link to it in the description of this video. Please also like and subscribe. This helps me a great deal. Thank you.